Good morning. I'm so grateful to have been able to get up this morning and drive into town and come into a building with a sign on the front of the lawn, or whatever you want to call it when it's not a home. I still call it a lawn. And have it advertised that we're here as part of Jesus' church, entering in through a gate of grace into relationship with Jesus and helping others. I like that. I like that we don't have to hide yet. I like that we can worship the Lord openly. And I love that He called us together so that we could edify and encourage and build one another up. So here's some real encouraging things, to me anyway. Hopefully it will be to you. If you meant what you sang today in the praise and worship, it's also communal prayer, which we've been told more than one time. This is our prayer time. But did we really pay attention to what we were praying? I'm trying to remember exactly. I can't remember exactly, but it was over 20 years ago. Somebody wrote a little bitty book that went viral before things went viral. Blew up, bestseller. Promising a prayer that God always answers. It's called the Prayer of Jabez. And I'm not going to go into the book. There's some really good things about that book, and there's some things that are theologically not so great about that book. And the heart of what I think he was really trying to say is probably true, but that's not even the point. The point is that there was a promise of a prayer that would always be answered. And then you had people who were real upset about that, about claiming that any prayer was that. And then you had snarky people like me that were like, sure, God always answers prayer. Yes, no, wait. Haven't I already told you that? But He always answers. Because what we really mean is a prayer God always says yes to. That's what we usually mean when we say a prayer that God always answers. Prayer that He always says yes to. Something that if I ask, I'm going to get it. That's what we like to think of. Well, you did a bunch of that today if you meant it. There's some prayers we sang today that God always answers in the affirmative. Yes. If you desire it truly, that's what you're asking for and seeking and drawing near. Things like burn away what's in my heart and life that doesn't please you. Things like go ahead and let the pressures of this world push out, reveal what's good from you, this new wine, and leave the dross, the skin, the meat of the grape. If grapes really did feel what was going on like a cartoon, that would not be a fun experience. We laugh at Lucy, but she was standing on a bunch of grapes, stomping her feet. That's what they do. Smash, smash, smash. You realize when you're saying that, Lord, bring new wine out of me, you're saying, I invite you to crush me. I invite you to allow me to be crushed. Have your way. You have your way in my life. Even if it hurts, no matter what it looks like. If I suffer or if I'm victorious, if it's great or if it's painful, whatever it looks like, you have your way. You mean that when you pray it, God will always say yes. Okie dokie, here we go. It's an awesome thing. And the result is that secret place, that presence of God, that deep relationship that we can go. It's worth whatever. Because it is a new life in Him. A closer, deeper, more abundant life. And that's awesome. But we forget that we pray things like that. Maybe y'all aren't like me. But there's a very good chance sometime in this week, if not later this afternoon, something will come up that will cause me fear, or will make me uncomfortable, or will hurt, or whatever. I will have this vision in my mind of the way this should go and work out. I have this outline in my head. My life plan, my business plan, my emergency plan, whatever. I see, okay, here's the issue, here's the problem, and this is what we need to fix it. All right, God, don't you see my beautiful plan? Will you make that work now, please? Will you do what I want? The way I want? Make me comfortable? Make me feel better? And a good and loving God is going to remember how much I meant it when I prayed these things this morning. And go, no. Tara Lee Cobble has an app and books and all kinds of things about the Bible recap. Doing it this year with Leah through the Bible. And some things I really agree with her on, and there are a few things that I've been like, oh, you're way off on that one. But for the most part, theologically very sound and good. But she said something in yesterday's thing that I really liked, because it's absolutely true, and I knew it already, but I just never heard it expressed quite like that. And it's, when you pray, God will either say yes to your prayer, and I'm summarizing, I don't have a quote, but He will either say yes to your prayer, or He will say yes to what you would have prayed if you had all the information He had. If you really knew the purpose, the plan, how it would work out, what would come out of this, what's going on, what each option really would lead to, and all this stuff, you wouldn't ask for what you just asked for. And He'll say yes to that, to what you would have asked for had you had His information. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I like it. Sounds pretty right, because He will do what's best. He will do what's good. And He does have way more information than you and me. We just don't have it. Sometimes what we call unanswered prayers are God's second greatest gift. And His first greatest gift was the answer to the prayer you didn't even pray. Providing rescue and help and life before you were born, much less realized you were dying. Jesus wrapped Himself in flesh. God made one of us to be like us, to be with us, so that He could do for us what we could never do for ourselves. We could never win. We could never be good enough. We could never overcome sin, death, the devil, our own nature, my own habits. my own desire to do the stupid thing that's going to hurt, I do it without his grace. I don't have the power to overcome that. But Jesus does, and he did. And he won. He did it right. He spread his arms wide. And then the soldiers spread them even further. And they ripped his shoulders out of sockets so they could nail him in, and he couldn't pull himself up well. And they nailed him to a cross. And this, of course, was after they'd already beat him until he was nearly unrecognizable. And he died for getting it right. So remember that the next time you go, wait a minute, but I did the right thing. I'm supposed to be happy, healthy, and comfortable. Jesus did the right thing every single time. He went through some stuff that we will never go through. And then he gave us the reward. He said, you can have what I earned because I already took what you earned. It's way bigger unfair trade than if you traded your yearly minimum wage income salary to Bill Gates for what he makes in a year. That would be a pretty good trade for us, right? Yeah, but this is better. His life for our death. We can have it. If you've already put your trust in him, you already do. But to have that power to really let that blood make us, enable us to walk with God, we have to do what we prayed here. We have to surrender to his Spirit. We have to say, I'm leaving my life at the cross. The good and the bad, a living sacrifice, because that's the only thing that makes sense to do. It's the only thing that's reasonable, logical response when I realize how much he did for me. But I want to draw closer. I want less and less of the stuff before the cross to be evident in my life today, because I want it to look more like what it's supposed to look after he gets a hold of me. So I want him to change me and sanctify me and make me new and make me like him and make me able to be a light to others so that I can say, hey, there's life. And that means that there's some stuff that's got to get cut away, pushed away, crushed away, burned away, removed, changed, transformed. For his glory, for my life, for your life. And that's a prayer he will say yes to. Sometimes when we look at heaven and we have eternity, it's easy to say, I will give my life for you. Because you know you're not really going to die. It's the only way you're not going to die. Well, I guess I'll let you save me. Okay. Today I would challenge us all to remember what he gave for us. And in addition to understanding that we're laying down our lives, lay down your blueprint. Lay down your outline, your step-by-step, minute-by-minute plan of how you think your life should go, your day should go, how God should do it. None of those Israelites thought they were going to see a Red Sea part. That's a really cool story in retrospect. But when you're standing on the beach and Pharaoh's right behind you and you can see the dust cloud from the thousands of chariots, that's not a day at the beach you're looking forward to. God, why didn't you send us another way? That pass over there would have worked. God said, I've got something. So let's let him have it, because his way is better. His way does bring life. And if you knew what he knew or knows, if you saw what he sees, you wouldn't ask for what you're mad at him for not giving you. So trust him. You trusted him with your salvation. You trust him with your life. Trust him with what you want. That if he says no, he's got something better. And he proved it by not holding anything back when he gave himself for us.